Hello everyone, I'm Paavo Järvi, the music director of Tonhalle Orchestra Zurich. Welcome to Tram for Two, a series where I take my guests on a ride through Zurich. Hello, welcome to the new episode of Tram for Two. Today we have a very special moment. We are welcoming our beloved colleague and a great conductor, Gian-Andrea Noseda.
It's a pleasure to be a tourist in our city.
Yesterday you finished something quite epic, a ring cycle. Was it always something you dreamed of doing, Wagner's Ring, or is it something that you gradually grew into?
Interestingly enough, until 2 or 3 years before the Opernhaus offered me the music directorship with the biggest idea to do the ring cycle together, 2 or 3 years before I said to Lucia, my wife, I will never do the ring. Loving Wagner a lot, I did Flying Dutchman, I've done Lohengrin, I've done Tristan und Isolde. But the ring, I thought, is far too big for my small head. But a couple of years later, when they offered me that, I said, why not?
Certainly the logistics of opera is incredibly complicated. There are so many important people, and there is always this struggle of who is more important. Not from a point of view of personal importance, but from a structural importance. Is the finance, the director, the stage director, ballet master, lighting, costumes, orchestra, singers, oh my God, this is another universe. Is it possible to be a democratic person? Or you need to be a really despotic dictator in order to keep the opera house running?
I tell you, in the opera house is never one person show, because all the people involved. But at the end of the day, there is one who have to take decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so, and to also to give a general idea where you want to take the opera house in terms of artistic value. So if that means that you have to be sometimes strong and severe, but of course, as you know, never arrogant, you have always to motivate, and even if there are some struggles, because when many people are involved, sometimes there are more problems when there are less people. But you have also to, as you know, to have a little bit of psychological element in the business.
Doing something that we have been kind of discussing and dreaming about for a while, something together with Opera House and with the Tonhalle. We are changing orchestras, so you are conducting my orchestra, I'm conducting your orchestra. The idea in the beginning was, and it came out of the fact that we want to show Zurich as a musical city, as a cultural city, because what do you think of when you think of Zurich?
Finance.
Exactly, yeah. Bankers, and which is all fine.
Yeah.
But it has also great music, and it also has great art. And, together we are also able to generate a bit more presence for music.
I think that is important for the city. Let's be very frank. Tonhalle is a top international orchestra. The Opernhaus in Zurich is a top opera house in the world. And you said one day when we were talking about that, we need to make them more sexy.
Yeah, exactly.
That you said this word, and that's where I started. How can we just put Zurich in the map of the sexiest city in terms of music and culture? And also, this has been possible because we know each other since 1999. I came to attend Bruckner 9 at the Philharmonic in St. Petersburg. You were conducting. I was conducting at the Mariinsky Don Carlo production. You came. So from that point on, we never lost contact.
That's true. You conduct in different continents, like I do. 2 questions. One, does it matter to you how the applause and audience reacts? How much does it matter to you? And the second, is it something that you could recognize with your eyes closed which continent you are on just by the applause.
Of course, if a concert is well received and moved to enthusiastic reaction, makes me feel happy and satisfied. But most, I know if the performance went well or went in the way I was expecting it to go. And that is more rewarding, of course, if I know that the concert is particularly good, no?
I have had moments where I thought the concert didn't go very well, but the audience went crazy. And sometimes the other way around, it's just like, this was great. Kind of polite applause. So I must say, over the years, I have kind of grown a little bit suspicious about the general. I mean, I appreciate it and I love every moment if somebody is excited and applauds. But how much it actually corresponds to the quality of the performance, I don't know, not always sure.
But you know, just to give you an example, London and Washington. Yeah. London, you can do great concert, and the comment is, oh, it was lovely.
It was lovely, yeah.
And you say, only lovely, and the answer is, indeed.
Yes, yes.
Same concert in Washington, they come and they are raving. Awesome, unbelievable.
Yes, right.
So sometimes, and let's say it's impossible to reproduce the same concert, but same quality concert. So it's difficult to do. But talking about your second question is nice. If you close your eyes, you just recognize in which country are you or in which part of the world. I think the most recognizable is Japan.
Absolutely, yes, I agree.
I mean, you can close your eyes, you can bet 99% that you are in Japan, because the silence during the performance, and when they start to applaud, there is no a crescendo. There is,
Exactly,
there is
yes.
the immediate response.
And what I love also is in Japan, they have standing ovations sometimes, but it used to be that there is no standing ovation. But if they like something, they do this. If they like something more, they do this. And if they love it.
They go,
so you have the audience like this, and this is a standing ovation. The thing is, it's a little bit like the same with critics. You know, we don't really care about them, but we wouldn't want them not to write. It's important to write. Doesn't matter what you write, but it's important to write
to show
because it's a historic document, and it needs. Otherwise, and that's what's happening. A lot of papers now that the music critics are in America. Music critics are just not there anymore. Right now, we look back and they said Rachmaninoff on this day. It was in Carnegie Hall. Toscanini did this. We are losing the kind of a cultural fabric because a lot of things get just.
It's more on the moment, but in a few years' time, people will start to wonder. But in those years in Zurich, there were two conductors, Paavo Järvi and Gianandrea Noseda. But it's nice to see what we do, production, concerts.
They will remember that they liked to talk with each other in the tram.
That, number 8.
Exactly. Now living in such a horrible situation where so many things are happening, and a classical musician, in your view, does it have a responsibility to speak up and say something? Or is it something that you feel like, I say enough with my music and I don't need to get involved in public discussions of politics?
It's very dividing. The world is very divided. It's very polarized now. So yes and no, black, white. They don't even consider that there is the gray, or the red or the yellow. Through music, you can say a lot. You can be either a builder, try to bring people together, or just to divide. I think everybody of us should have a clear idea, also political. Sometimes I don't know if it's helpful to outspoke, because that will put some people with some prejudice, and we should be people. I mean, connect.
You know, we are also, living in a times where we feel that we all have the right to say something, and of course we have the right to say something. We have to say something. On the other hand, whenever we say something, it's not only our reputation. it's the well-being of the whole organization. And so there is this incredibly fine line, because I see, and I'm really sad about this, when I see my colleagues being sort of cancelled after, one tweet about something. I think that this is we are unfortunately getting closer to this kind of a scrutiny which was very close to the kind of Stalin time, when one wrong word and you're out.
And you know what you are talking about, because
I come from there. Yes.
When I was a young teenager, and after that a young pianist, young conductor, with the art we will change the world. You have this revolutionary, this fire inside. Next year I turn 60. More and more I'm convinced that probably music and art will not change the world, but music and art can touch and change the heart and the mind of people.
Well, by the way, 60 is a young age for a conductor.
Absolutely.
From 60 to 90, that's the golden age. So.
Golden era, golden age.
Thank you, Gianandrea, for a fantastic conversation, a very nice ride in the tram. Thank you for following us. Keep following us. Stay tuned for the next Tram for Two.
And thank you, Paolo, for this just trip on the tram in Zurich.
Thank you.
Incredibly enjoyable experience.